This is the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast, and hello everyone, and welcome. Today, myself, Charles Lung, the host of this podcast, and my co-host, producer, editor, co-pilot, and gunner, Jake McGloth, will be discussing and pitching a brand new television series for you all to imagine and wish would be made, but isn't going to be made.
Yep.
So welcome. How are you doing today, Jacob?
Me?
Yeah.
I'm okay.
You good?
Yeah.
Happy?
Happy?
Yeah, are you?
No.
Are you content?
No. Content, yeah. I'll say that.
That's contento, like the Italians say.
Yes.
Speaking of
I wonder who said that first.
Speaking of Italia, I'm going to Italy later this month, which is very exciting.
Oh,
yeah.
That's fantastic.
Yeah, I'm going to Milan, fashion capital of the world, apparently, or so I was told.
Well, you say ciao to say hi.
Okay.
And if you want to know where the bathroom is, say dove è il bagno.
I'm going to say, I'm going to talk like a stereotypical American. I'm going to wear a big baseball cap. I'm going to be like, hello, where's the bathroom? I don't speak your crazy language. I speak American. Do you speak American? And then I'd get slapped, and no one would respect me.
Or they'll just take your money and pretend to be nice.
They'll probably just take my money and pretend to be nice. They're not French.
Yeah, the French will just slap you.
The French would just slap you. And they'd be mad about it. But today we're going to be talking about a television show. And that television show is No Subtlety. Is the television title, the title of this television show that I have an idea for. And It is... I am just explaining things in the most roundabout way today, aren't I?
You are, really?
I like it. Jake doesn't, but I do.
You're like my character in A Bard's Tale. I don't know if you remember, but he only spoke about things in a roundabout way.
Oh, yes. I wonder who he was based off of.
Not you. So.
No, I know, not me. None of your characters have ever been based off of me, except for that one.
No, not one or two.
That one. I remember that
Possibly
one was,
three.
but besides that, none of the other ones. But these two characters in No Subtlety are directly based off of you and I, because I am a hack.
Oh, I see.
And I have no talent, so I can only base things off of real life. So, Jamble Fluke is a smart, hardworking, hopeful, and knowledgeable man who he's shy but responsible, and he has a hidden rage that is just deep within his soul that he only lets out, under certain circumstances. He can't hold his booze, and he is very easily convinced of things. Now, these aren't all entirely based off of you or I, but I wonder who that could be.
Can't hold his booze.
Now, Cartnip Scoop? Yeah.
These names are something else, aren't they?
He's a disaffected youth. He's cynical and rash. He's a party animal. He's cowardly, but charismatic. So he'll start a fight, but he won't fight in the fight. He'll leave Jamble Fluke to fight the fight while he runs.
That's kind of similar to one of my other characters.
Yeah.
Brusque Farley.
Yeah. And these two men they live together and they work together, and they live and work on this ship, spaceship, you might say, called the Fish Fryer. I couldn't think of a good name, so it's just the Fish Fryer.
Fish Fryer is a good name.
It used to be a food truck sort of situation. Like it was
but now it's a spaceship.
It was a space food truck, so it would stop by asteroids and they'd sell fish and chips and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but what is it? Cartnip got it for cheap. He managed to convince someone to give it to sell it to him for cheap, and Jamble repaired it.
Okay.
So Jamble is the engineer and medic of the ship. He's kind of the responsible one. He's the one who's like, hey, we're about to run out of gas, And Cartnip is the navigator and pilot of the ship. Some would say the host and co-host of the Fish Fryer. That's inaccurate. I would say that's actually accurate, because Cartnip just kind of points the ship in a direction and hits go, and Jamble has to deal with all of the problems.
Of the work. He has to actually push the lever forward.
Yeah, he's got to deal with all of the like actual, issues.
Cartnip has like a disconnected controller like you give your 5-year-old cousin that wants to play video games.
Yeah, it's like when you give a baby a steering wheel in a car, and you're like, oh wow, look at what you're doing when you're just driving. It's like that sort of thing. So these two boys, they are, I don't know how to describe them other than bums. They're bums. They don't really have jobs or families or anything. They're just two shitheads who live together on the fish fryer, which is it was a food truck, so it reeks of fish and fish oil at all times. And the AI who runs the ship, she was an AI who is built for customer service. But because she doesn't deal with customer service anymore, she's just very sarcastic and rude to these guys because she knows that they can't get rid of her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. And she is, overly sarcastic. I would say, I'm saying she because the AI has a female voice, but not really. It's not gendered AI, right? It was just a voice they picked up. And the point of this show, No Subtlety, is to not so subtly lampoon literally every piece of modern culture in some way or another.
Oh.
That's the idea. So Cartnip and or Cartnip, whatever you want to say, and Jamble will each episode fly to or land on a new and different planet, and they will go and experience this planet's culture and the people who live there and what they do, and just poke holes in it and be like, wait, why do you do that? That's ridiculous. What do you do? What? That's silly.
Yeah.
Why would you do what? And poke logical and social holes into the systems that by which these people live their lives. And I think almost every episode should end with them being chased off the planet by like a mob with pitchforks and like laser guns and stuff, because they've just pissed everyone off so much because they're disaffected, I would say. Cynical. Cartnip's cynical. Jamble is hopeful, but smart. Jamble is smarter than Cartnip, but Cartnip is more, how would I say? He's more
worldly.
Convinced. He's more worldly, I would say. So
he's got the street smarts.
He's got the street smarts, but he doesn't actually have as many street smarts as he thinks he does. Like, he thinks he's on top of it. He's like, he knows the deal, but he very often gets things wrong. And like,
they'll go to an underground poker game, and he'd be like, Jamble, don't worry, I got this. And I'll be like, hey, what's up, guys? And I'll be like, who the fuck are you? Get out of here. He's like, never mind.
Yeah, that sort of thing. And he'll get into the poker game, and he'll be like, so what are we playing? Texas Hold'em? And like, no, we're playing Sclobby. The famous gambling game Sclobby. And he's like,
and he'll look over at Jamble and be like, yeah, I know how to play Sclobby.
Yeah.
And plays the game.
Loses all of their money. Yeah.
Yep.
And then they have
to cut to them walking out, being like, "You lost all of our money," or it'd probably just be a line from Jamble, just be like, "You don't know how to play Sclobby, do you?" And you're like, "No, I don't."
No. Yeah. And then cut to Cartnip gets thrown through the window out the bar, and Jamble just walks out sipping like a martini or something, like sipping a very, it's like a fruity drink with a, what do you call it, little
big swirly straw.
Yeah, one of those umbrellas and everything, and he's just, you don't know how to play Sclobble, do you? No. All right. Well, lucky for you, I just gave you play money, Jamble gave him a bunch of Monopoly dollars. And then
he's like, wait, but they'll notice. And he's like, nah, they're idiots. They won't notice. And then you hear the screaming behind them.
Yeah. And then Jamble just drops the thing, runs, and they both just sprint to the ship, get the fish fryer out of here, that sort of thing. So
Can't lose the fish fryer.
I think the fish fryer is a good name for a ship,
I do like it too.
But if you can think of a better one, feel free. The only names I'm determined on keeping are Jamble Fluke and Cartnip Scoop, because they're ridiculous, and I like the fact that they're ridiculous.
It is. As for the shape of the fish fryer, I think it should look like a fryer.
Yes.
With, like, fish in it. That's what it should look like.
It should.
As, like, a spaceship, it should be like a double fryer. Because then we can make it kind of big. Could have two sides to it.
Yeah.
They're not, like, huge, you know, but, like, you know, half the size of the Millennium Falcon or something.
Yeah,
like that.
big enough that they both have their own room.
Yeah, and they can live there, and there's, like, I don't know, maybe a common room and then there's, like, 4 rooms in total. A common room, their bedrooms, and the ship room.
Yeah,
like
and the
driving room.
where they do the steering, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
And then there's
the
like
cockpit.
And
there we go.
that was the word we were looking for. And then they can do like there's an undercarriage that Jamble is constantly working on because the ship is just being held together with like duct tape, spit, and prayer. You know, that's what's holding the ship together. So Jamble is constantly going out in the spacesuit. And, like, there's one spacesuit, by the way. They can't afford 2 spacesuits. They have one spacesuit that's, like, a hand-me-down from Jamble's brother. And Jamble has to put it on to go outside and fix up the ship. But, you know, it's constantly messing up, so Jamble's, like, having to fight for his life against, like, the elements. And meanwhile, Cartnip's just, like, asleep, you know, in his room or like getting drunk or something.
You'll cut back and forth just like Cartnip snoring and then cut to Jamble like trying to patch a hole in his suit like
yeah,
and he's like, oh my god, and it's like 30% oxygen remaining and it's like, oh my god, and then cut to and then back. He's trying to cut the yeah I think that could be fun little sequence.
And I'm perfectly willing to have more characters live on the ship, like some sort of little gremlin that they've picked up. You know, Cartnip's like, we need a mascot, so they get a little gremlin guy who just lives on the ship, but he's just like...
Maybe they should have a pet, some sort of pet thing, like the gremlin.
Yeah.
But it shouldn't talk, it should talk in, like, gibberish.
Maybe
they
talks...
understand it like Chewbacca.
Maybe it talks in just, like... I don't know, what would be a funny thing for the little gremlin to quote? Like, he only speaks in, like... quotes from movies made between the year 1971 and 1972.
Oh, okay. It should be... One of my favorite parts about Transformers is that Bumblebee only speaks through radio.
Yeah.
Right? So he should be a little robot, like, thing that has, like, one of the parts is a DVD player. And he has a bunch of DVDs.
Yeah.
And he can only, like, play DVD lines to speak.
That would be good.
So he'll be like switching through the, you know, you'll put a DVD in and he'll be switching through lines of Fast and Furious to get dialogue, and it'll be different every episode. Like he'll have a different movie.
Yeah, do that sort of thing. We could do a thing where like they're both trying to like defuse a bomb, and the little robot's trying to tell them which wires to cut, but he accidentally hits play too early, and so instead of playing like the word red, it plays the word green, and then they like blow up into space, and the robot's gotta go save them. That could be fun.
Yeah.
So right here I have a list of different planets that they could go to for us to make fun of different groups of people. So first, the planet of the influencers. That one's the most topical, I would say.
I like that one.
Yeah.
It's a fun one.
Just a planet entirely populated by people who are narcissistically obsessed with their own self-image, you know?
Yeah.
And completely unwilling to exist in a world where they are not the most important person. But that's everyone, which I think would be part of the charm of the show, is just like the fact that literally everyone on these planets is this kind of person. You know? Yeah. So there's literally everyone has 2 million subscribers, even though no one on this planet is subscribed, because they've all purchased subscribers from an online bot, you know? Yeah. And they're all like... Oh my god, so it's all fake. Yeah, it's all great. Fake. And they're like, you know, they're shilling for different companies, and they're trying to sell each other the same products, you know? They're like, oh yeah, would you like to go to manscaped.com/...
Oh, we can't shit on a real company.
We can't, especially if Manscaped's one. If you know what, I love Manscaped. It's a good product. This is a
I'm gonna cut all this out, so it's okay.
free advertisement.
Just start off with another company.
Okay.
Flurb.com.
The blurb.com.
And they sell I said flurbs. They sell flurbs, which are like little plush toys.
Yeah, buy a
that,
flurb. I love flurbs.
I don't know. They're like Furbies, you know.
Yeah.
They speak and stuff when you poke them.
We could shit on Furby. Nobody cares about Furbies. Do they? Do people care about Furbies?
I don't know. We'll just stick with flurbs, all right? So we don't get in trouble with the Furby people.
All right.
I don't know. They might murder us or something.
They might send an army of Flurbies after us. And then Furbies. And then...
Flurbies. No, that'd be a real problem if it's Flurbies.
Yeah. They'll rip us apart with their anatomically correct teeth. Mm-hmm. That's part of it. They're like, now with anatomically correct teeth. And then they show, like, a commercial, and it's just a guy. He's got the Flurby, like, gripping onto his nose, and it's, like, just blood everywhere. And he's like, he's trying to yank it off. Yeah. So the planet of the influencers, I don't really have stories for these planets, just, you know.
I mean, that one could be a lot of fun, because they could land on the planet, right? Mm-hmm. And immediately, people are coming up to them, trying to ask them to subscribe.
Yeah.
They're, like, pushing through, and they're like, no, I'm not interested. No, I'm not interested. It's like they're trying to click away pop-up ads. Mm-hmm. That's the way we should try to present it.
They're human pop-up ads,
just pushing them away, trying to get through. And then... How do you deal with drama between the two people, like people in this influencer world? Because everyone's self-centered. You're going to have drama.
Yeah, that is true.
Right? So is it going to be celebrity boxing like exists already in our world? Because that would be fun. We should go into the boxing thing.
That would be fun if it was a influencer boxing match, but nobody...
MMA. Influencer MMA. That's what it should be.
IMMA. Yeah.
Okay, and then so there's there's these fighting centers everywhere. Mm-hmm. Like they're literally dotted all over the planet. And you can go and watch, and they go to one of these and they bet on one of the fights. Mm-hmm. And then they find out the reason staged. Why they're fighting. It's like the stupidest thing ever.
Yeah.
And the fights could be like WWE. And the reason for the fight is like because
you made fun of my wife's haircut.
Yeah.
And then they
keep her name out of your effing mouth.
Out of your frickin' mouth, dude, because none of them can curse. Maybe Jamble and Cartnip are the only ones who can curse, because if you curse, you become demonetized, and then you can't, be sold to children. And so nobody on this planet curses. Nobody.
But even children are influencers.
Yeah,
they'll find that out. They have like unboxing channels or something.
They go to a school and like. All the classes are like, all right, now here's how you hire an editor. All right, and here's how you make your content, I don't know, viral. There's study like viralocity.
Yeah, you do SEO and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. And they're like, and then Cartnip will be like, I don't know, what's a basic question? What's 6 times 6? And all the kids are like,
Like, how do you thrive as a society? They're like, well, we have the influencer trade. Service industry is one of our biggest things. It's like, yeah, entertainment, I got that. Mm-hmm. But, like, how do you make food? Chinese,
mostly.
It's just like what? And they're, like, trying to figure out how these people fucking survive.
Yeah.
And what would it be? It could be, like, a Matrix thing where, like, they're... it's like the robots secretly control everything, or should we just not bother to go into it?
I think it's maybe there's like we tell the audience how they survive. We can like show the audience, but Jamble and Cartnip do not find out, Because I would like all of these planets to be weird, like mystery things, but like we can show that actually the phones that they're all using are like slowly becoming fused to their hands. So people are... And it's like, oh, those are actually they're, sent by aliens in order to, dumb down the populace or something.
Before the invasion.
Yeah, that sort of thing. And
we could also do something where it's like the influencers are like a class on this planet.
Yeah.
And they're propelled up by the rest of the class, who's the audience. Mm-hmm. So they're separated into the influencers or the audience. And we can end it with... like Cartnip and Jamble talking to the people in the audience, like they find them in the slums, and they're like, so wait, you give 50% of what you make to these influencers? And he's like, yes. Why? I'm like, well, because of their videos. And it's like, but they're free. He's like, yes, videos are free. Like, but you give them money. Yeah, I give them money. Why do you give them money? Because they're influencers.
Yeah.
Like, but why? You got to explain to me why.
Yeah, and they're like,
and it leads to this long conversation that eventually leads to a riot, and they leave the planet burning because all the influencers are being murdered by the audience, who finally realize that they're being used.
or it's just like, what if instead of a slum, it's like an entire underground civilization? Like the influencers live on the top layer of the planet, and they're like, it's beautiful, and you know, it's always sunny, and you know, all this stuff, and then you go downstairs and it's just like this horrible slum world of just like people living in poverty and all this stuff, and they're like, man, I love Jacksepticeye. That's the only influence.
No, we can't shit on Jacksepticeye.
Yeah, I don't mind Jacksepticeye. He seems nice enough. He's a nice boy with the green hair. Does he have green hair? He one of those?
I don't know. I've never watched him. I know his name.
Yeah. But yeah, that's a good idea. They just leave the place burning because it's like, is that? And then, you know, Cartnip, who's usually the cynical one, is like, man, that's a real shame. And then Jamble is like, I mean, is it really that big of a shame? They're like, no, not really. Maybe they'll read a book. Who knows? And then goes back to both of them, you know. They're like, now we're going to go spend our time properly. And then they both go and just watch YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Because I think that this show...
yeah, they could be like, you know, they get into the common room. And they're talking, and they're like, yeah, I can't believe the audience, they got sucked into this, like, entertainment reality where all they did was just, you know, they did nothing productive. All they did was just watch things and talk. And, you know, they just dealt with this crazy oligarchic society.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, that's insane. Then they sit down and they watch a movie.
Yeah.
And they watch a YouTuber open packages.
Because I think that this show while it is us lampooning every aspect of society, it should also be, the show should be making fun of us, you know?
Yeah, because we're hypocrites.
We're definitely hypocrites, of course, you know?
Oh, not us. The characters are hypocrites. We're not the characters.
No, we're not the characters, nor are we hypocrites. I've never been hypocritical in my life.
No.
So, second planet idea I have is the planet of the entrepreneurs. And it might be...
I love this.
It might be a bit too similar to the planet of the influencers, because it's just all these people.
It could be very different. No, it could be very different. I'm saying.
Oh yeah, it could be. You're right. But it's like this planet.
Because everything could be a startup company. Literally every company could be a startup.
Yeah.
And they're all terrible ideas. Because they just want to start something. They just want to, you know, put all their energy into this company, but they don't actually have a good idea, so they're just throwing everything at the wall. Like, they're shitty projects, like huge companies that are only going to last a few days, that are like, oh, we make socks for your socks. What happens when your socks get cold? Well, we got socks for that. Boom.
Boom. And then you're like, couldn't you just get 2 pairs of socks? What? No. What? Are you stupid? No, how would you know that socks fit? Because we made the socks for the socks so that... Shut up.
We could have a lot of great product ideas here.
Maybe
just stupid
most of the companies, or like all of the companies, are only one person who works for them. Because entrepreneurs, the one thing entrepreneurs will not allow is to work for someone else. And you could get all of that fake like self-improvement bullshit that rich, quote-unquote rich guys sell on the internet. It's like, oh, you need to get a side hustle and a thrive hustle. You know, you need to be working all day, 24 hours a day. If you're poor, it's because you choose to be poor, not for any other socio-economic reasons. It's always a choice. There's never any... And also, money doesn't make you happy, except if you have enough of it, and then you're really happy. You know, that sort of thing.
Every bookstore is full of self-help, like business entrepreneurial books. Entertainment is just conferences.
Yeah.
And like expos that you can go to. But everyone that goes to them isn't really like they're not, I mean, like, maybe they're excited for the speakers to learn, but like when they see other people's companies, they're like, they're nothing compared to mine.
Yeah.
That just gives me an idea. Everyone's, self-centered in that way.
Everyone's
It's all
self-centered.
about their company.
No one actually makes anything. People only have ideas for things. And then they're like, oh yeah, once I get, the capital in, I'm going to start production pretty soon.
I was thinking the opposite. They make things, but they don't have any ideas for things. Like, every product is real and they make it, but it's really shitty. There's no good product ideas.
Yeah, that's good.
Because they don't have any creatives. They just have the entrepreneurial people.
They just have
business people.
The business people who, and it's like, because one thing that I see a lot with entrepreneurs online is like, some people are just sheeps, but others, the wolves, are entrepreneurs. The wolves of the...
Okay, we could do that. We can make that a thing. They'll like howl. Be like, we're wolves, and everyone like in a 20-mile radius will howl. And you're like, what the hell is going on here?
Is this a weird cult planet? What the fuck, And like, because I want to look into the idea of like everyone should be an entrepreneur, because you don't want to be a stupid sheep who actually makes a product,
Yeah.
So none of their products, or like they make all the products, they don't work. Like people's like their hands explode. Oh, we made a blender, and then somebody gets a blender shard in their eye, and they're like, oh well, Blender 2.0 coming out next fall.
Yeah,
that sort of
fall.
thing. They're like, oh, this is terrible.
Every day there's grand openings everywhere, fireworks going off.
Yeah. And
all friendships and relationships are networking. There's no love. There's no friendships. It's all networking.
they're like, love? What?
I don't have time for love. I gotta hustle.
I gotta get that side hustle. Gotta get that other hustle. What's that? What's that thing they say all the time? Passive income. I gotta get that passive income, and they've all got like.
Oh yeah, that's right. There could be a huge, crazy stock market that is in this world is just gambling. It's you have to go to a roulette table and you have to put money down, and you're like 42 on
black
this .com site. And they're like, sure, and they spin it, and it's like, boom, you missed. You lost all your money. You're dead now. And then they kill him.
Yeah, bang. Well, shouldn't have bet all his money. Should have diversified his portfolio. Should have gone to a bunch of different tables. Yeah, I like that a lot. And they've all got like Bitcoin. It's not Bitcoin wallets, but they've all got like these little routers that supposedly make them currency. And it's like, oh, actually, I have like 600 slop coins or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're like, all right, what can you buy with a slop coin? And they're like, more slop coins. You could get more shares of slopcoin.org. It's just...
But they're really like defensive about it. I'm like, you just don't get it, man, okay? Like,
this is the new frontier of art.
You need the assets. It's about the assets.
Yeah. This is the new frontier. Everyone's claiming it's the new frontier. Everything's always the new frontier. This is how, this is the new way. This is how society's going to evolve, man. If you don't get on now, you're just going to be left behind. Like, you just invented toilet paper. Pretty sure that we've already got the new frontier of toilet paper, made that.
Nah, this isn't toilet paper. This is butt wipers.
Yeah,
we have butt wipes. No, butt wipers. Like, you know how your car has the windshield wipers? This is for your butt, man.
Yeah, you stick it on your taint, you're ready to go.
Ready to go.
They're always, and no one ever thinks about a product for someone who isn't them.
Yeah.
Men never make products that would be sold to women, and women never make products that could be sold to men. They're all just very self-centered products, which I think,
And it's always specifically tailored to that person. Like to their height and build.
Yeah, like, I'm selling glasses. Whoa, you invented glasses? And they're like, yeah, here, try on some. And they give them to him, and they find out that literally every single pair of the glasses has the same prescription. And it's
no one else can
guy's
use
prescription. And he's like, yeah, is that good? They're like, no, I have a different prescription. My eyes are different than yours. And he's like,
different?
You're not. Like, they're all babies, and they haven't figured out that they aren't the center of the universe yet. So they're like, something outside of how I exist That's very odd.
But they can't accept that, so they just say, no, that's not right.
No, I think
Everyone's an idiot besides them.
I think you need to look at a different. Just move him up on your face and just like keeps trying to push it on his face. Like, stop touching me! Stop touching me! You know?
Yeah. Everything in the world should be full of advertisements. It should be advertisements everywhere, and the advertisements change daily, hourly maybe.
You open up a magazine and you're like, on the front it says like brand new article about Scooby Dooby Dooby or whatever. He opens it, it's just literally all ads. And they're like, he goes to page 64 and he finds like the article and it's just one sentence written. Scooby Dooby Dooby.
And it's a sponsored article.
Sponsored by Lay's potato chips. Lay's potato chips. Lay's potato chip with a TH. Laith. Lay's.
He's really trying to explain that this isn't Lay's potato chips.
It's not. Lay's potato.
It's different.
I've never heard of Lay's potato chips. I've only heard of Lay's potato chips.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And then every time you try and buy one of those products, it's like, sorry, the shipping costs we'll get it to you in a few months. And you're like, I know damn well this company's going to be under a few months.
That could be good. Every product, or most products, or some of the products are, they're all part of Kickstarters. Mm-hmm. So you have to pay up front to get the product, but you're not going to get it until they finish the company, and they never do. They always go bankrupt in it.
Yeah, and it's always
so you put money, you pay for this fucking product, you never get it.
Yeah, that would be good. All right, I have a lot of planets ideas. Some of them are a bit sillier than others. So Planet of the Potheads, it's just everybody smokes a lot of weed, and they're like very, just not productive at all, you know?
Mm-hmm.
But they all, one thing I love about pothead culture is it's all like, peace, love, and stuff. But, potheads fight just as much as everybody else. So I think it'd be funny if there was like, just they have like a peace like march, and the like guy who organized the peace march gets into a fist fight at the front of it,
beating the crap out of some guy.
Yeah. And he's like, what the fuck, bro? Just harshing my mellow, as he's like stomping his head into the ground. Can't stop it, bro.
Find your peace, man.
Yeah. And like, we're not.
And then our characters would go up and be like, isn't like that's not like your message. That's not what you're trying to put across, right? He's like, you need to chill, bro. All right, you just don't get it. Here, take this.
Yeah. And then he's like, no, I don't want a gummy bear. And like that Jamble's like, I don't want a gummy bear. No, thank you. And Cartnip's just like, I'm loving this. These are delicious. What'd you say they do? Oh no.
And he's like, I've eaten 12 of them.
It's like, bro, that's enough to knock out an elephant. He's like, nah, I'll be fine. 5 seconds later.
Whole episode, Jamble's just gotta drag him through
Jamble's got a fucking wheelchair, and he's just put him in, and he's like, this is not, I don't care what anyone says, this is addictive. You're all addicted. It's like, no, bro, but there's no physical down effects. There's no side effects. There's like no one can finish the sentence properly. They all just go off and talk. They all do that.
No, man, you just don't.
Yeah. What? Huh?
What were you talking about?
You guys want to get Taco Bell? They're all talking about how they're like anti-establishment. They believe in like free reign. Handmade products, and they always go organic when all this stuff, but at the same time they're all just wearing like Nike stuff and Doritos. They all are just absolutely,
and they're always going out to these fast food places to get food that are part of the system that they're so called against.
Yeah, and it's all just,
and our characters will criticize them for that, and it'll just continually build up throughout the episode until they just snap, and they're like, you know what, you guys aren't chill. And then every pothead in like a 50-mile radius will turn around when he says that.
Yeah.
Like he says they're not chill. They'd be like, run!
Yeah, and it's like the beginning scene of Indiana Jones. They're all just like, they're running, and they're like coming down a hill, and the fish fryer is like, oh, they're coming, wow, they're coming fast. Oh, and you just look back, and there's just this entire army of potheads.
Haze of pot, there's a green haze following them too, because they're still smoking as they're going.
And like in order to get them off their back, the fish fryer, like, they drop their snack reserves out of the fish fryer. And just, like, a whole bunch of shit falls, like, just nasty-ass, like, old fish fry, like, fish and chip shop food that they have left over. And they're like, whatever. And they just start eating. Like, well, that was pretty easy.
They'll just be like, thank you for the food.
Bye, come by next time, whatever. See ya. And they say their names wrong. They say, see you later, Charlie and Jake. It's like,
wrong names.
But they say the wrong ones. They say Snarly and Cake.
Oh.
Yeah.
Snarly and Cake. I like those names.
Yeah.
Snarly and Cake. I might use that.
Next, I have the planet of the journalists.
Oh, God.
So it's a whole bunch of people who are very well informed about the, like, tragedies and, like, horror that's happening throughout the world, but they never actually do anything about it.
Yeah, they just talk about it and write about it, but they can't actually contribute in any way.
They don't contribute in any way. They're like, oh, I bought this t-shirt. The company said that they give a t-shirt to a kid in Africa with no arms. Every t-shirt goes to a child in Africa with no arms. Obviously.
Everyone has to be objective, too, so they can't. There's no opinions. No one has any opinions.
No one has any opinions. They all, like, in order to, like, break up, like, in a relationship, it's just, like, they make a list. It's, like, statistically speaking, and they just make a whole, like, objective list as to why they should break up. And it's just like, I don't like you, you know? And then Cartnip and Jamble are the only ones who, because they all have opinions, and they all the journalists have opinions, and they all use their...
they're all burrowed in.
Yeah. And Jamble and Cartnip are the only ones who actually say their opinions as opinions. You know? Like, oh, I like that movie. And everybody else is like, what? The first person? What are you talking... What?
You can't like the movie. Why do you can't say that. You have to say why it's good. What cinematography, what about it is astounding. Not, you can't just say it's...
we have to... And then, you know, it causes a freak out. And, like...
Yeah, and they all of a sudden, they explodes all these emotions and subjectivity. And it just explodes into this giant editorial. The whole world. They've
all just got, like, one huge piece of paper that they all write on.
Yeah, because they all have to get their opinions out now. Because they're like, we can do it. And maybe we bring up the idea to them. Like, what about editorials? Like, what's an editorial? Well, they put it in newspapers, and it's just the opinion of journalists. It's like, yeah, but that's not objective. He's like, oh, no, but you say beforehand that it's not objective.
Yeah.
They're like, and people do that? It's like, yeah, all the time. I'm like, oh, and they, like, spread the word, and that's when the world explodes from this giant editorial, because they have to finally get out all their
pent-up rage and
ideas.
Opinions. And, you know, Jamble and Cartnip are like, oh, I feel like that went pretty well. And as they're, like, flying away, the entire planet just bursts into flames. Just
this giant paper that says editorial at the top.
Yeah, and there's just, like, thousands and thousands of people all writing at once on the thing, and all the friction causes everything to catch on fire. And just thousands burn. They're like...
Yeah.
And you know, you get maybe one of the main characters. I imagine for the show, each time they go to a planet, they would meet someone, and that's kind of like their tour guide throughout the planet. And they're like, you know, telling them how the place works, and they're, you know, kind, but they're also they have the same flaws that everybody else has on this planet. And so they're like, never again, you know, after the planet burns. And they're like,
yeah,
you know, that sort of thing. And they're like, we have to go back to the old ways. The old ways are best. I don't know, give me some objective thing to say.
You just say facts.
Facts. That's what you just...
The great paper in the sky is there. We're like, what? There's no opinion about it. He doesn't say it's good, it's not bad, it's just there.
Oh my lord. This is amazing. Yeah. And then, you know, there could be a subset of them who their entire job is just writing lists. They're like, I thought I would be doing something useful, but just writing lists. My favorite Friends characters go as follows. friend number 1, friend number 2, then friend number 3. Thank you. Please subscribe, follow, like, subscribe, listen. If you wanna, you can check out my podcast. We've been there. Everyone's got a podcast where they're all investigating unsolved crimes, but they're like,
or government corruption.
Yeah, but it's also everyone's done the big stuff, so it's all just extremely mundane shit. It's like
they're like, little Sally's cat went missing on Tuesday. But Marcus from across the street says it was gone on Wednesday.
Dun, dun, dun. Yeah, that sort of thing. And then they're like, man, this is all... You guys seem well informed, but this is all really boring.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay. Yeah. And then they fuck off. Because that's how I think every planet ends, with them just fucking off, getting booted or just leaving.
Yep.
Alright, I'm gonna skip around now. Planet of the Americans. This is where you just make fun of America. America. Yeah, where, because America thinks it's the protagonist of the world.
Okay, I think the planet America should literally be at the center of the universe.
Yeah, that would be good.
Like, they're driving and they're like, oh my god, I think we're about to reach the center of the universe, and they go through like this cool like cloud thing. I don't know what the center of the universe actually is. Isn't it like a bunch of suns or something?
I know. Well, I think...
Anyway,
yeah.
They go through it, and it's just a planet alone in this big space. And they land, and they're like, welcome to the United States of America.
And, they're walking around, and you're like, oh yeah, we're all really friendly here. And then you just look over, and there's like a bar fight happening. And you're like, yeah, don't look at that. What?
Yeah.
And it's just like, that's not happening. What are you talking about? Well, that's not what's currently happening. No one's having a fist fight in the parking lot of the Denny's. What are you talking about? Just constantly just lying to you about things that are bold-facedly happening in front of you.
We gotta go full American here. So it's gotta be, everyone's got a gun all the time.
Everyone's got a gun all the time.
Everyone has a gun.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone's very knowledgeable of their gun. Mm-hmm. Like, they'll sit down at the table and they'll take it apart and put it back together.
Yeah.
Just for funsies. American flag clothing is everywhere. Everyone's got an American flag on their car.
Mm-hmm. Everyone's got all their clothes are American flag patterned. Every time you go to the beach.
Even subtly, like, it'll be like if you look really close at I don't know, stripes or something. Mm-hmm. It's like, oh, those stripes are actually, like, if you zoom in really close at their shirt, it's like, oh, each dot is an American flag.
Literally everyone at the beach wears America, like, red, white, and blue swim trunks, and they're all the same swim trunks. And then you look close, and they're all made in China.
Yeah. You go to a restaurant, it's like, would you like the burger or the burger?
Or
we also have hot dogs
and steak. And then it's like, I'll get a steak, and they just bring out.
Can I get a salad? What?
What?
Can I get a salad? Like, give a Caesar salad.
We don't speak Italian over here, son.
Yeah, this is America. Sorry.
They bring out. It's like, I'll just get a steak, and they bring out like an entire cow, and just like in front.
All the portions are insane, like huge.
Yeah, huge
Absolutely
portions,
crazy.
Like in front of everyone. They just like slice the cow up, and like they just have a steak that's like the size of someone's arm, and they're like, "Yep, that's. You wanted a medium rare." And they're like, "Yeah, medium," and they just get like a flamethrower. Everything is at like 110%. All of the like, everyone goes to see the movies, and it's just, I don't know. The movies are just a series of people saying catchphrases. That's
it's every movie is like a John Wayne film.
Mm-hmm. Every movie is John
like
Wayne
a Clint Eastwood.
or John Wick.
It's always just this like laconic or short speaking protagonist who gives like one-liners and ends the movie with the girl. That's how the movie ends.
Yeah,
every single movie.
Every movie ever. That's how they all end. Yeah. What else? Mm-hmm. What else is
when you get a drink at like a fast food place, maybe even at the movie theater at a restaurant, the cup is absolutely huge. It's like a barrel, and the straw is also massive, and you have to like hold it with both your arms, like stretched in a circle, like this huge cup, and you like have to put it down next to you, and the big straw comes out. So you're eating the food on the table, and next to you is a massive drink that's the size of your chair, and you're sipping out of that.
You have to put your...
It's always Coke, too, or something like that.
You have to put your entire mouth over the straw, just like...
Yep.
It's pretty good, you know? And they're like, are you done with your straw, sir? I'm like, yeah, do you want to shove it up this dolphin's nose? We just let anyone do anything to the planet. We have actually, in the back, we have a what do you call? Where do you keep turtles? We have a tank full of endangered sea turtles. You can actually stick the straw through the turtle's eye if you want. Like,
we're good.
We're good, yeah. Thank you though. I'm like, okay, and then like, come on, Timmy, let's go out back. And you just show like this kid, and he's just like got the biggest smile on his face. He's walking out
with his straw in his hand.
Yeah. And they're like, oh, that's gross, isn't it? Like, nah, it's tradition, all right? Somebody's got like a really racist name, and you're like, whoa, dude, that's not cool. That's
not okay.
Nah, it's tradition. Don't worry about it. It's traditional. It's tradition, duh. And then, you know, you bring up a tradition from literally anywhere else in the world, and the same guy's like, ew, that's disgusting. Why would they do that? That's horrible. You know? Everyone's got, like, too much plastic surgery. You know? Actually...
everyone's deeply divided on everything, too.
Mm-hmm.
Every issue is excruciatingly painful for everyone because, like, even the name thing, we'll bring that up.
Yeah.
That could be the end of the episode. We bring up the name thing. One of our characters says, that's racist. And then someone else at the bar is like, yeah, it is. And it starts a huge fight. And the whole world ends and explodes because of this simple comment where our guy says, that's racist. And it sparks this huge fight.
Yeah.
And the whole divided country gets into war and kills itself.
Yeah. And we could, like, cut to different people, like, in different seats of power, and just, like, have a guy, like, riding his tractor, and his son is, like, you know, standing next to him, like, putting some seeds in the ground, and the dad is like, well, I think that name's kind of racist, and the son's like, what? And he, like, rips him out of the tractor and throws him underneath the blades, and then... Yep. And then you're like, oh, you know, it's two politicians, and they've got, like, they're just standing in the big room, or it's like two generals, and they're just standing in the room, and they're like, yeah, I think that name's kind of racist. It's like, you son of a bitch, and they, like, get into a fist fight, ends with, like, one of them slamming the head of the other one onto the nuke button, and they all just launch a bajillion nukes. They're like, why?
Cut to, like, Congress, and you have, like, a billion old geriatric senators, like, beating each other with canes on the Senate floor.
Mm-hmm. And there's, like, a guy in it shouldn't be an ox head. It should be some other animal. He's murdered and skinned a bald eagle, and he's like, I do this because I love America, and he's, like, wearing it on his head. It's like, you just, literally, he shoved his head through the asshole of the bird. He's like, yes, this is because I love America. He's, like, face at the front. It's like, yeah, that's what that looks like. You love America so much you ripped its guts out, shoved your head up its ass.
That's a good line.
Yeah.
Like that. And then they're running away as the world's erupting, and they get on the ship and it explodes. And they look back and be like, boy, but that would never happen.
That could never happen. What?
We can't call it America. We have to call it something else and have a different flag so we can be like vaguely different.
Yeah.
You know?
Americone. It's just Americone. And it's just like instead of an A, it's a O in the name, and the flag is just there's an ice cream cone where the stars should be.
You could call it Murcia.
Murcia.
Like Murcia.
Yeah,
Murcia.
I like that.
I know that's a place in England. But
I'm looking it up. I'm writing it down.
Murcia.
All right, I have a few other ones. There, you know, we've gone on for about an hour, so I figure that probably don't want to do more. But I have the planet of the TV writers.
Oh boy.
Which would just be, you know, making fun of TV writers and all of the different tropes that they use. And it's like, how should we make the audience feel bad for this character? It's like, you want to play some Sarah McLachlan music? Like, yeah, that'll work. It'll be fun. You know?
Every show is the same.
Yeah.
They're all... they're different, but the same.
They're the same. It's all the same. And they're all like, oh yeah, you know, I think that the love interest should end up with the main character. Who should we cast?
Yeah.
2 white people? Yeah, just 2 white people. We don't need just 2 white guys. Or 1 white guy, 1 white lady. We can't have gays on television. You know, that sort of thing. The planet of positive reinforcement, where everyone is only given positive reinforcement all of the time. No one has ever given any negative reinforcement. And you just,
Oh boy, that could be bad.
it just, everyone is just like this whiny, self-entitled brat. You know? Nobody has any, like, no one's ever heard the word no on this planet. They've only had...
Everyone has what they want.
Yeah. Yeah, everyone believes they deserve all of everything in the world. And they don't need, you know, you go to a school and it's just like this teacher is being like beaten up by all of the students. And she's like, oh, you guys are just so creative. You're so creative, and I just love that you're expressing yourself through whatever. Ow, ow.
You punch in the face.
It's just ow. Okay. No biting. No. That sort of thing.
Yeah.
The planet of the CEOs.
Oh.
It's just like a bunch of people who all own these companies. That's kind of similar to the planet of the entrepreneur.
Well, the CEO, they all are at the top, right?
Yeah. So it's like an entire planet of people who are at the top of these huge multinational corporations, but they believe that they are the only ones who have worked for the success of this company. They're like, oh yeah, no, it's just me.
So they don't. No one else gets paid.
No one else gets paid. Yeah.
Yeah.
The planet of the artists, and it's all just different kinds of artists living together, and it ends with them like a painter tells like a sculptor that he's the artist and he's not really an artist, or like a writer.
Oh, I got it.
Yeah.
He could say like, I think your work's just a little derivative.
Damn. And then
That could be one way it cracks. Then you could also do your thing where it's like you're not really an artist. That's not really art.
yeah,
As you were saying.
and it's like, oh, you know, a dancer,
All these little slights are what build up.
and then like eventually it just ends with this because artists typically, not all artists, but a lot of artists portray themselves as being very mild, you know, peaceful people, you know, not in favor of violence, you know, that's sort of kind of the thing. So it could end with like they've all just like they got chisels and paintbrushes and they're just jabbing each other in the eye and like sticking it inside someone's throat, and it's like, ooh, these guys are they have a lot of pent up something going on there. Yeah. So that's what I've been thinking of.
Yeah.
The planets of no subtlety.
I like it. It's a pretty good show.
Yeah, and I think it sticks to its namesake. You know, no subtlety.
It certainly does.
I don't want subtlety in my satire. Just tell me exactly what's a dislike. All right. Well, thank you everyone for listening to another episode of the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast. If you like what you heard here and you want to hear more, please give us a like, a follow, subscribe on whatever channels that you find us. We're on YouTube, we're on Apple Music, we're on Apple Podcasts. Not Apple Music, we don't make music. We're on Spotify, we're on all sorts of stuff. Tell a friend about us, tell an enemy about us, tell your dog, whisper it in their ear while they're asleep. Just go, hey, listen to the Very Reasonable Pilots podcast.